Okay, I think we are just about live, so I'm going to open up the waiting room. All right, hello everyone. As you start to filter in, good afternoon or good morning, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. We'll give everyone just another few seconds because we have a long list of people starting to shuffle into the room here. Okay, and we'll get started in just a moment. Let's share our slides. All right, can everyone see that okay? Good. All right, great. Okay, so we are just about ready to get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 COVID Information Commons Student Paper Challenge. We're so excited to see you all here today. A quick note for you all, microphones are currently disabled, but you do have access to the chat. So please begin introducing yourselves there, your names, your institution or organization, if you'd like to share maybe your major or a field of interest of yours. We really look forward to learning more about you all today. As you all go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat, we will share a bit more about our team. My name is Emily Rothenberg. Most of you know me at this point. You've probably gotten a couple of emails from me. I am the program manager of the National Student Data Corps and the project lead for the 2025 CIC Student Paper Challenge. My personal background is in math and finance, data science, and education, so I really look forward to supporting you all over the next 3 weeks of this challenge. So I'm going to pass it to some of my colleagues now that are on the line. Florence, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Emily, and thank you for hosting this and kicking this whole thing off. So my name is Florence Hudson. I'm Executive Director of the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub at Columbia University, and we're delighted to bring this COVID Information Commons Student Paper Challenge to you. This is the fifth challenge we will have done since we started the CIC, we call it the COVID Info Commons in 2020. My personal background is I'm actually a mechanical and aerospace engineer. I worked at places like Grumman and NASA. I was a VP and a CTO at IBM. Did a bunch of different things, and I've been here now leading the hub for 5 years. And it's a lot of fun because I get to work with Emily, all of you, and some of our cool Columbia students who are going to be introducing themselves now. So Shtuti, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then Krishan.
Yeah. Thank you, Florence. Hi, everyone. I'm Stuti, and I'm an MS Data Science student at Columbia University. And I will be one of your mentors for the Student Paper Challenge. And I'm really excited to meet all of you, speak to all of you, and hear more about your ideas.
Hi, everyone. I'm Krishan, a student assistant at the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub and a graduate student at University in the MS in Data Science. I'm glad to be a part of this session and look forward to guiding you through the paper challenge.
Thank you so much. So really quickly, I am going to click record. We are currently live streaming on YouTube just for those other individuals who won't be able to watch just now. So there will be a recording there, but just as a backup for you all, because I know a lot of you are interested in watching this recording later, I am going to click record quickly. Let me just record it. It'll be to our cloud and it will be shared with you all internally. Okay, great. So now it's kind of in a bunch of different places. I'll make sure that I have a copy to you all, which is a very common question we get. You all will receive a recording of this mentorship call launch challenge to you all later today, along with a copy of the slides. So you will receive everything that we're discussing today in an email later today and also in that Discord channel that we've been chatting in. But I will get into that a bit later. So now, before we jump into all of the exciting stuff, I want to share with you all our code of conduct. Our goal is to provide you with a safe space to explore new academic interests and network with other students and mentors here. We do not allow harassment. We do not allow hateful language or threats of any kind at the NEBD Hub events. We expect everyone to treat each other with kindness and respect. If you experience any sort of harassment, please know that there is an anonymous reporting form on our website. Stuti will help us drop that in the chat as well. You'll be able to review our code of conduct page alongside that reporting form. We will remove anyone who violates this code of conduct, not only from this challenge, but our community at large. Does anyone have any questions about our code of conduct? Check the chat.
Nothing in the chat, but we'll keep an eye on it for you, Emily.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So let's move on and jump into our agenda. So we have some great things planned today for the next hour. We will do a COVID Information Commons overview. So you'll hear from Florence herself a bit about the background of the CIC, the portal, its community. She'll do a demo of some of the really cool tools that are on the CIC website that you all can leverage for your research paper. I will then go through the 2025 CIC Student Paper Challenge itself, give you a bit of an overview of the resources and mentorship we provide, opportunities for communication and collaboration, where you can get started. We'll hear from a previous winner of the CIC Student Paper Challenge, and we'll also go into some incentives, which I know you all are super excited about. I'll wrap up with a speed round of frequently asked questions and next steps in your research process. And then I'll do an open Q&A at the end. So the chat will be open this entire time. Any questions that you have, feel free to drop them in the chat as we go along. We will be monitoring them and answering them as soon as possible for you guys. Okay, so now I'm going to hand the virtual mic over to Florence to give you some background information about the COVID Information Commons, and then to demonstrate the variety of very cool tools you all can leverage on this website to assist with your research.
Thank you so much, Emily, and thank you everyone for being here for this kickoff event for the COVID Information Commons Student Paper Challenge. So in March of 2020, the National Science Foundation contacted us at the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub at Columbia University and asked if we could create an open portal for people to easily find NSF-funded research related to COVID. That day, I went into the NSF website, and there were exactly 32 awards that had been awarded by NSF related to COVID. Today, we have almost 14,000 NSF and NIH funded awards in the COVID Information Commons. So we created the initial portal in 2020. And as you can see, the COVID Information Commons serves as an open resource to explore research addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. At the time, we were hoping this wouldn't last very long. So it was a 6-month rapid award, it was called. And the number of awards kept growing. COVID kept growing. And then we got to the point that we said, you know, it's wonderful that NSF is funding this. And as you can see, we have 2 awards from NSF, the one in 2020. And then in 2021, because we said, you know, this is a disease, we really should be collaborating with NIH too, the National Institutes of Health. So they offered us $2 million to work on this for 4 more years. And now we have 1 more year extension to complete the work, do a 5th COVID Student Paper Challenge. We're working with Springer to publish a book with 95 authors who are PIs, principal investigators, and researchers. So this brings us together in a portal and a community. We had our kickoff meeting in July of 2020, and we expected 25 people. We had, I don't know, couple of hundred. So we are always surprised at how many people show up for these things. And at the time, we had 2 researchers present their research. We had over 40 other researchers who wanted to present, so we created a COVID Information Commons community. We said, well, welcome to the community. You want to collaborate? We're now a portal and a community. And so we provide these resources. I'll show you a little bit, a demo, what's in here about the search tools, meeting the researchers, opportunities, events, and all that information. Next slide, please. So after we launched it, and as I mentioned, we have almost 14,000 awards now, we created a lot of content so you can use it easily. We're all about accessibility and being able to ingest and digest the information. So there are demo videos. We have search tools I'll show you. We've had 31 lightning talk webinars and over 140 videos. We actually translate some of it into English and Spanish transcripts, and we have many data sets, groups, and guides. And then the principal investigators, I'll show you, can provide their own personal information. To get to any of this information, you can just go to covidinfocommons.net and then browse around on that homepage. So I'm going to do a little bit of that for you now, I hope. And hopefully you'll all be able to see what I'm doing. Now, don't get scared. You're going to see yourself first. Okay, great. So, so this is the COVID Information Commons. So if you go to covidinfocommons.net, this is the homepage you would get to. There are a couple of major search tools here. One is the COVID Awards and PI database, and you can just, click search on that one. You'll see we have 13,948 COVID-related grants. They're funded by NSF and NIH, so you can see the blue and the NSF and the gray and the NIH. And in any of these, you would be able to look at it and then look at the principal investigator, who's the main researcher, the amount of the award, and then more information about the award. Just to personalize this a little bit, I'll say, like, what if I heard this Florence Hudson has like an award? Oh, look, there they are. There are her 2 awards, NSF awards. Oh, this Kiki one, this one, let me do this. This is the one, the $2 million one she told us about. So you can go into the award, you can go back to the NSF website and see the actual grant if you want. Here was our original program manager. You can see when it was awarded, the amount, our co-principal investigators, Jeanette Wing, who's now our EVP of Research at Columbia, and you can see information about the award. The KIC was established in May of 2020, and it went on and on. What you can also do is look at the principal investigator's PI profile. So I fill this in. There's a form where the principal investigator can fill it in. Here's my ORCID ID. You can get those for free. If you don't have one, you might want to get one. It shows like all your publications and stuff. You populate it yourself. Our websites, and these are the prior lightning talks that I've done. So all this information is available to you. So that's the COVID Information Commons and PI side of it. We also have this other cool tool, this COVID Research Explorer Machine Learning Maps tool. And if you click on that, it takes you to this really cool thing, which is like a kaleidoscope. I love the colors. This allows you to look at all the awards. There are some awards that if you look at NIH or National Institute of Health awards, there'll be a number of them that have the same number. So that's why this number is less than the 13,900. But here you can actually look at clustered grants and awards by topical areas. So here you can see infection cell virus, SARS-CoV-2 protein, students conference undergraduate. Oh, that's so interesting. I'm interested in education. I wonder what that's all about. Then you can actually go in here and say, oh, wow, look at all these interesting, Washington University, UC Davis. These are interesting things. Let me see if I can find out more of the awards that are about education. So then you can go over here and say education. You look, analyze, like, oh, it goes down to only 1,200 awards related to COVID and education. And then you can click on any of these, see more information about it over here. You can also see the way I have it set up. It's that everything in the state of Washington is a certain color, everything in Texas is a certain color. So it allows you to really dig into the research that's been done, which is very exciting. So if you go to this homepage, you can easily get to the student paper challenge. So you have to remember all of the different things if you don't want to. The other thing you can do is if you look at Meet the Researchers, you know how we said on the slide that there are over 140 research lightning talks and we did like 31 webinars? So here are the Research Lightning Talks, and they're organized in various ways. So you could actually look at the ones related to COVID and biology if you want to focus on that, COVID in the environment, COVID in education, and then you could click on any of these and look at them. And then you would be able to view the video, and you can also see the English, Spanish, French, and Hindi transcripts. So we don't have all of them in all of the languages yet, but some of them we do have quite a number of languages. And all of this is open and available to you 24/7 for whatever you want. You can also look at data sets as an example, and there have been some data sets that have kind of expired because COVID started 5 years ago, but these are the ones that still have 85 that are available, and you can view them. Their COVID-19 is very popular. You may have heard about that. You could look at the COVID-19 Open Research Data Set Challenge and all the information they have, and so there are all these different data sets you could look at. There are also groups and guides. There are some organizations like Africa CDC COVID, um, let's see, NIH RADx Data Hub, the National COVID Cohort Collaborative. There are a lot of different institutions and organizations that actually had COVID-related research. And then in our video library, we also have the prior webinars. So in the webinar, we would have multiple research lightning talks. And so you could look at those if you want. So there's quite a lot of information, and it's all open and available to you. So we really hope you take advantage of it. And you can see some specific Spanish language resources. There are some publications, and that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. The API documentation is if you wanted to leverage the data and the metadata in the COVID Info Commons through an API, you could go there. And the way we update this database every month is that we go to the NIH, NSF websites, and we use their APIs, application programming interfaces, to download the research awards. So Emily, did that cover everything you needed me to say?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you, Florence. And it's great to see everyone really enjoying these resources in the chat. So much of what we do has come from our community, you letting us know what you need and us trying to fill that need the best that we can. So it's really great that you guys are, really interested in all of these different tools and resources. And as a reminder, this is being recorded. So if you do want to go back through Florence's presentation and kind of look deeper at the different tools, you will have the recording to be able to rewatch for clarity later today. And if anyone has any questions as I move forward about any of these tools, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll try to get to them, okay? So now let's get to the challenge itself. The 2025 CIC Student Paper Challenge invites current and recently graduated within the past 12 months undergraduate and graduate students at public and private colleges, community colleges, and universities to develop research and to write a 4 to 5 page double-spaced research paper. This paper should consider a trend, an insight, or a topic that's related to the pandemic that could contribute maybe to future discovery and innovation. The challenge technically begins today, as this is our launch, and you will have the next 3 weeks to complete this task. So your submissions are due September 1st by midnight in your time zone. So wherever you are tuning in from around the world today, whenever midnight hits on September 1st, that is when your due date will be, 11:59 p.m. September 1st. Your submissions then will stay in 2 cohorts. We'll have the undergraduate and community college student cohort and the graduate level student cohort. They will be judged by an anonymous panel of judges in September, and then winners will be announced by early October. Now, for this challenge, you are more than welcome to leverage any of the CIC resources that Florence just displayed, but it is not required to leverage those resources to write your paper. It's simply encouraged because, again, we've vetted some of those resources already. They're free and accessible, and they kind of were pulled together just for you. But in case that wasn't enough, and you wanted some more resources, we also have the Data Science Resource Repository, or DSRR. The DSRR contains over 1,300 resources for learners and researchers, from data sets to use cases, from articles to podcasts. The Airtable is filterable and searchable, and we have a variety of different languages within the repository as well. The great news is that we have already vetted all of these 1,300 plus resources for you. So everything that you find in here or on the CIC website will be available free, open to you 24/7, no paywalls at all. So you don't have to worry about that. You can go and explore data. What other resources will be available to you over the next 3 weeks? Mentoring sessions. So we will host 1 mentoring session per week, starting this week until your submission deadline. Each mentoring session will be virtual, recorded, and shared with you afterwards. And each session will go over a different part of the research process, guiding you to completion. We will also have some special guest mentors on those calls who work in public health, data science, and research. So it's really a great learning opportunity and networking opportunity for you all. The next mentorship call, which you could see highlighted in red with a star next to it on the screen, is this Friday, August 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be discussing your topics and whether they are narrow enough to complete in this time frame or with the amount of data that's available, how to find credible resources, how to cite those sources properly, super important, how to write a thesis, along with some insider recommendations about the challenge. All mentorship information can be found directly on the CIC Student Paper Challenge webpage and will be subsequently dropped in that Discord channel. And speaking of your Discord channel, we highly recommend that you join our community of learners and mentors there. We'll drop a link to join us in the Discord if you haven't already. I will regularly post tips and reminders on that server, so please join. It'll be our main method of communication here on out. It is free. It's also a private server, so you don't have to worry about that. The CIC project team and mentors will be in that channel as well, so you can drop any questions that you have about your research, your topic, the challenge as a whole. You can drop questions in there anytime, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. It's also a great place to find teammates if you are interested in completing this research in a pair or a very small group. Maybe you and someone else have very similar interests and you want to kind of explore doing a paper together. That's also an option. So again, Discord channel is where you can connect and collaborate with the whole team. So let's get into getting started. On the CIC website, as Florence showed, we have those COVID-19 research lightning talks. We'll redrop that link for you as well if you didn't catch that. You will see that we have clustered research into topics on the right side of your page. So we have things like COVID and data, COVID and biology, COVID and education, COVID and society, and more. You can absolutely explore intriguing topics there and allow those to begin to inspire you. And additionally, we actually have a message on how to best get started, complete, and possibly even win this challenge from our 2021 student winner, Aditya Kulkarni. So I'll allow him to tell you about some insider information on how he successfully won the challenge.
Hi, my name is Aditya, and I was a participant and subsequent third place winner of the 2021 inaugural CIC Student Paper Challenge. I thought I would share my experience in this challenge and provide some tips and tricks as you embark on this journey. When I started searching for my topic, it was a time when a lot of bars and restaurants were reporting large COVID outbreaks. Watching this news while sitting on the couch inspired me to think about how I could dive deeper into this issue and see if there is an underlying trend behind why some bars and restaurants are having significant COVID outbreaks and not others. Based on this, I would recommend you to focus your data science exploration on a topic that's both meaningful to you and potentially has societal importance. After deciding on my topic, I looked into NSF-funded COVID research, using the CICS tool for viewing these project abstracts in clusters filtered by keywords. This helped me find any related work I could review and assess my topic for novelty. I then spent a bunch of time exploring the data, analyzing specific sections of it, taking a broad view to grasp the big picture, and understanding how each section played a role. It's important to remember that this stage is a process, and you shouldn't get discouraged too easily if you aren't able to find any meaningful insights just yet. When I was looking at weekly visit counts to bars and restaurants, I didn't see much of a difference between visiting patterns to locations with reported outbreaks and those with no reported outbreaks. However, when I limited visits to those where the person was in the location for more than 20 minutes, I found that there was a correlation between a sharp spike to these long-duration visits to bars and restaurants and reported outbreaks at these locations. By focusing on this more nuanced section of visits, it eliminated any noise from quick visits by masked delivery drivers or people picking up meals outside the restaurant, which aren't close contacts and likely don't develop into COVID-19 cases. I'm glad I went through this journey because in the end, I had the opportunity to present my research in a webinar alongside professors who shared their own research. It was great to be able to hear their work and discuss with them both before and after the webinar. Ultimately, I was able to get in touch with professors at Stanford and Iowa State, where we have taken my research into a new direction. Focus on the economic impacts brought by COVID-19 to different types of point of interest locations and richer versus poorer zip codes. Some final thoughts I have for you are to have a goal and purpose behind your exploration. Locate datasets that can help you achieve this goal. Be open to changing your thesis during this process. Note that visualizing data is one of the best ways to really understand a dataset. For me, I used a large SQL organized database, so making these initial visualizations was critical to unraveling the connections in the database. Lastly, I'd recommend to start drafting your paper once you have about 50% of your expected insights complete. It's essential to communicate what your results mean to us. I hope this challenge is a fun and rewarding experience as it was for me. Thanks.
That's great. And that's Aditya. He has gone on to do fantastic, big and wonderful things since the 2021 CIC Student Paper Challenge. But he gave you a bird's eye view of how he thought of a topic, leveraged some of the CIC tools, explored his personal interests or maybe a problem he was noticing in his personal life while completing his research, and then gained great professional development opportunities from the challenge itself. So overall, very exciting. And speaking of some of those incentives and opportunities that he was referring to towards the end of that video, here are some information about the incentives that you should expect. So the top 3 winning individuals or teams of the undergraduate and community college cohort and the graduate cohort, so 6 winners in total, 3 in each cohort, will win. The first place will get $400 US. Second place will get $300 US, and third place will get $200 US. It is to be noted that if you complete this project as a team, this financial prize will be split amongst your team members. So if, for example, a 2-person team wins first place, you each will get $200 instead of each getting $400. So that's something to consider. Winners may have the chance to present their research, as Aditya did, to the COVID Information Commons or the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub communities on a live webinar in later 2025 or early 2026. All participants, including the mentors and judges who may be on the line as well, all participants in this challenge, no matter whether they place in the winning category or not, will gain a certificate endorsed by the COVID Information Commons, which you can see a couple of examples of that I made for myself and for Florence on the right-hand side of the screen. So overall, if you do participate in this challenge and you submit a paper, you will gain 1 or more of these incentives. We've heard from previous students that our certificates have helped them gain internships and job opportunities. You can add them directly to your resume or LinkedIn. So we do hope that you will submit to the challenge. Okay, so we are coming to the end of my presentation, so I will, in just a moment, open up the floor for Q&A. But I'm going to try to speed round some of our most frequently asked questions, as they may be some of yours. So please, as I go through this, continue to drop any additional questions that you may have for our team in the chat. We have everyone in there kind of responding to you guys, while I give you some answers to these questions that we have heard before. Can international students participate? Absolutely. Everyone from around the world can participate as long as they are an active or a recently graduated student from within the past 12 months. They are all welcome. Do I need approval from my college or university? No, you do not need approval to participate in this challenge, though you should feel free to share this challenge with your peers or mentors or professors at your university. Maybe you have friends who want to participate in it as well. Maybe you have friends who want to be on a team with you. You can gain mentorship from individuals outside of our community of mentors. So if you work closely with, let's say, a TA in one of your classes, and it's in the health space and you want to get their feedback on your paper, you can absolutely do that as well. But be sure to cite anyone who helps you with your paper. You should reference them and acknowledge them in some way. Can students work on one paper as a team? Absolutely. We do recommend smaller teams, so up to 4. You can use one submission form with all of the names of your authors. So if you're submitting as a team, you can use the submission form the same way you would as an individual. Just fill in all of those blanks with all of your names or all of your email addresses and so on and so forth. Can I use external resources? Absolutely. You can leveraging the CIC resources is not required. It's encouraged, but absolutely not required for your submission. You can use any resource that interests you as long as it is something credible. And we will go over how to tell if a source is credible on Friday's mentorship call. Can I use ChatGPT or other AI tools to assist? No. So submissions should include original student written content only. Now, if you want to, refer to ChatGPT to help you format your citations and make sure that they're correct, that's one thing. You can absolutely do that and make sure your citations are full and correct and complete. But no AI tool should be helping you write any part of your paper. It should be all student written. How should citations be formatted? Any citation style is fine, whichever you're most comfortable with or learned most recently that you want to use, as long as the citations are full, complete, and correct. We will review APA and MLA, 2 common citation methods, on our next mentorship call this Friday, August 15th. So if you want to hear more about that, feel free to join in then. But any citation method that interests you, you can use. Can I submit a paper I have already written? This is a very common question I get, and the answer is yes, you can. So if you have written something that touched upon the pandemic in some way in a previous class or in a previous year, you can absolutely leverage those findings or that paper as long as it fits within our submission requirements. So most students who do end up doing that will have to tweak their paper a little bit and make sure it fits within all of the different submission requirements, which I will go back over in just a second. Does my paper need to have coding or data science in it, or can it be more of a literature review and broader analysis? Either is completely acceptable. You do not need to know how to code for your data analysis, whatever you're most comfortable with. Can I view sample papers? Yes, you can. So if you go to the 2025 CIC Student Paper Challenge webpage, which we've dropped in the chat, and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see previous CIC Student Paper Challenge winners. This is a DTS video if you'd like to rewatch it. These are our 2021 winners, 2022, 2023, and 2024. And you can click on these links to read some of their papers. Sometimes students are interested in kind of formatting a paper and need some inspiration on that. So that would be a good resource. Let's see, that is the sample papers. Let's see our next page. What are the submission requirements? So if you've not tuned in yet, I ask you to tune in right now because the submission requirements, there's not too many submission requirements. We just want to make sure that we don't have to eliminate one of the papers because it doesn't meet the submission requirements. So it is just one research paper, 4 to 5 pages, double spaced, Times New Roman font, 12-point font, that discusses a COVID-19 trend, insight, innovation. It can be anything that you're interested in, any domain that COVID may have affected. So your paper, again, should be between 4 to 5 pages, but that is excluding any references. So that's your citation page. I won't count that within your 4 to 5 page count, or appendices. Or I've also had previous submissions where individuals created a title page. I won't count that either. So your 4 to 5 pages is really your text from your introduction, your methodology, your analysis, your conclusion, your maybe policy recommendations based on your research. That is your text. Those will be your 4 to 5 pages. If you do have content that goes past that 5-page limit and you still would like to include it for references, so for example, maybe with all of your graphics you have created, it goes way over 5 pages. What you would do in that case is you would create an appendix and you would simply refer to the graphic that's in your appendix instead of including all of your images. That way your text will still be within 4 to 5 pages, and then the judges will still be able to refer to an appendix to see your graphics. The appendix itself does not have a page limit, so you can include as many images or citations as you need to. And I will go over any questions you guys have about that in just a second. Is there a rubric I can leverage? There is. That was the biggest question we received last year, so I created an outline for you all. This will be shared with you later today as well in an email and in Discord. This is what our judges get to evaluate your papers. So if you're looking to learn a bit more about what they're looking for, this will be of most help. So we're looking at citations, whether they are correct. Intellectual merit and broader impact are 2 metrics that the National Science Foundation uses to evaluate proposals. So to what extent has you demonstrated a thorough understanding of your objectives? What communities might benefit from your insights? What is the broader impact of this research? Policy recommendations, things like that. And then, of course, your quality of writing. So is it clear? Is it concise? Do you have all of the main points of your paper? Are your visuals, any graphics that you include, are they clear and easy to understand? Things like that. So I'll make sure all of you get this as well. And lastly, what should I be working on this week? Well, let's look at the research process as a whole. I've highlighted in this peachy tone for you all what I think you should be focusing on before our next mentorship call, which is on Friday. I think it would be best for you all to try to identify a topic of interest. Select something that means something to you. Maybe you're personally interested in finance, so you want to dive deep into finance or the economy. Maybe you were a tutor throughout COVID, so you want to explore education because you kind of saw it change firsthand. Pick something that means something to you, and then your research will be a breeze. You'll then want to do some preliminary research, look up keywords regarding your topic, see what exists out there already, and then you'll want to try to narrow down your research question. What do we mean by narrowing it down? Instead of asking, how did COVID-19 affect New York? You might want to ask, how did COVID-19 affect the K-12 public school system in Queens? So that is narrowing your broad topic down. Pick a question that can be reasonably answered in the amount of time you have and also with the existing data that you have access to. If you do have extra time, you can jump to step 3, which is locating materials for your research, your data sets, your articles, your resources. We recommend that as you complete these steps, keep a Google Doc open, throw your ideas in one place, add the links on top of them. Keep track of your thinking process, and it'll make your research much easier in the end as you begin to write. We will get to these other steps in our later mentoring calls. And again, you'll have access to this page in the PDF that I send to you later today. And if you want to start that very first step, maybe today or tomorrow, but you have no idea what topic sways you the most, I've listed a few here to jumpstart that process for you. COVID affected so many domains. We all know that. Public health, transportation, the economy, the environment, society itself. Try to think of something, again, that interests you and just simply begin exploring, do a little researching. We'll use our next call to dive deeper into your topics with you and help you narrow them down. And that is the end of the presentation. So now I'm opening the floor up for some Q&A. I have not seen the chat yet, so let me stop sharing so I can see it full screen.
Oh, it's a little busy, Emily, so it'll take a little bit to catch up. But
Okay.
Shakti and Christian and I have been answering most of the questions. There was, just so you know, like what's been in here, do the AI restrictions extend to programs such as Grammarly and spell check? And we said you can use spell check or, Grammarly, but you should put that in the acknowledgments when you submit the paper. Using AI for generating content is not allowed.
Correct. Yeah, so we don't want AI to write any of your paper. ChatGPT, write me an introduction. We don't want that. We want this to be a true challenge amongst students, with your interests and your writing. So if we do see that the text has very clearly been AI, written, it might be disqualified. We'll have to reach out to you about that. But of course, tools like Word, spell check and things like that, grammar check, you can definitely use those tools. Absolutely.
Another question, is there an opportunity for one-on-one mentoring?
Yeah, so if you have specific questions, we'll try our best to answer your questions in the Discord channel. That's kind of like your almost 24/7 mentoring. When we're not on a virtual call together, you can still ask questions consistently. And then Stuti, myself, and Christian are all in there along with Florence. So if we see your question, we'll message you. We can create a one-on-one thread with you and respond there. So that's a really great way to do it. If you're really struggling and need some assistance, reach out to me. I'll drop my, I closed my chat, sorry. I'll drop my email address in the chat. If you're very concerned or something's private and you don't want to post it in that chat, let me know and we can talk about it together.
Yeah, so then there are more questions trying to nuance the AI question.
Okay.
So, not surprisingly, can AI help you with your code, not writing the whole program at all?
That's an interesting question. I would first, for something that's specific, I would maybe reach out to me. That would be something that I would ask you to reach out to me individually about. Let me know what you're trying to do or what you're looking to do, and then maybe I could help you instead of asking AI to do it. And we can kind of work on that together. So if there's something specifically about like code and maybe you're not super confident in a specific coding tool that you happen to be leveraging, let me know. We have a ton of resources here at the hub, so I might be able to point you in the next direction, the right direction.
Yeah, because we're trying to help you increase your skills in how to think, how to think as a researcher and look at things like Aditya said, so why is that happening? Why are there certain things, that, certain bars and where there's more COVID, why is that occurring? So what we're trying to do is help you think like a researcher, look at the problems we need to address in our world and then do that. And so that's why we want you to do the thinking and not AI. Like we wouldn't want you to feed the data sets and then say, let me know what you find. First of all, it probably will be wrong. And second of all, it doesn't help you think. So that's really what we're trying to help you do here, is to help you grow as a researcher.
Oh, thank you, Suji. I was just about to answer that question. I'll do a couple of these really quickly as well. Is every mentor meeting on Friday from 12 to 2? Stuti dropped our next sessions. We have this upcoming Friday at noon. Every session is at noon Eastern, so we tried to make that easy to remember. The second session and third sessions will be on Wednesdays. So Wednesday the 20th and then Wednesday the 27th. Can I analyze qualitative data to write a research paper? Absolutely. So this does not have to be a quantitative project for you. If you're more interested in a broader literature review and you're trying to find an insight across different resources, you can absolutely analyze qualitative data. What will be done with the submissions? Is it used for any form of data collection AI model training? No. We simply take your submissions, your papers, we keep them in a private folder. We share them privately with our anonymous panel of judges. Everything's kept private through our Columbia servers. We give them, we kind of remove your name so no one knows who they're judging, keep it all anonymous. We make sure, however, that the individual who is judging your paper does not come from your institution. So like Florence couldn't judge my paper, I couldn't judge Stuti's because we're at the same institution. That's a conflict of interest. So we make sure that all of that is kind of equal and fair game. After they're done judging your papers, they simply insert their grading into a spreadsheet. I'll look at the averages and then I'll let you know who the winners are in October. And then after that, we will ask you, if you end up being a winner, we'll ask you if we have your permission to share a link to your paper on our website, which you can absolutely say no to. So that's what ends up happening with the papers.
There are a few questions on publishing the paper after the challenge.
Yeah, so I'll split this question into two separate answers. If you're asking if you can go ahead and use this paper to publish it yourself or work with another individual and end up publishing down the line, you can do that. We don't have any rights to your paper, so that doesn't happen. That was a big question I got last year. The other question is, do we help publish your paper? So your paper would be published on the COVID Information Commons website if you win. And then sometimes, Florence, I have to double check with our team internally. It also in the past has gone up on the Columbia Academic Commons. There's been some changes internally about that tool, so we would just have to check with our team first. But yes, it typically does go live.
Yeah, I think the new rules are that you have to be over 18 years of age,
Right.
because you actually have to provide written consent to allow the Columbia Academic Commons to post your content. And I think you have to be 18 years of age to be able to sign for yourself. So we don't get your parents or your legal guardians involved. So that is one of the new rules, I think. But there may be new ones. Life is changing every day, as we know. And so we would work with you on that.
Right. And I guess a third part to that as well is if you do win, we invite you to present your research on a live webinar, and we invite our community. And in the past, some community members have reached out to our students like Aditya and said, I would love to continue this research with you. And they've published some things as well since then. So really great professional development opportunity down the line also.
Yeah, so you can mention this, like, you put it on your CV, and if you get the certificate, you put it on LinkedIn. And, we know that students, actually, they tell Emily tells me this, have told us that it helps them get in their internship and job interviews. When they see that, you used real world data and did real world data analysis, that's what they're looking for. And so this is a great opportunity to do that.
Yes, absolutely. In the case of qualitative research, are there any things we should keep in mind for interviews, such as going through a review board, attaching interview transcripts, etc.? Florence, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so if you're doing this as part of your institution, you probably want to check with your advisor to see if you need to talk to an IRB, an institutional review board. If you're using already available data, that shouldn't be an issue. If you are talking to human subjects, you might have to do an IRB. What Aditya was doing was using data, he wasn't interviewing humans. He was using information about, basically kind of like supply chain information when people were coming and going and things like that. But if you are talking to humans, you may have to work with an IRB.
Yeah, and on top of that, you also just want to consider how much time you have. Sometimes developing a proper interview and working with a review board, that takes a lot of time. So I do recommend sometimes leveraging data that already exists, and clean data at that. If you can find a credible source of clean data, that is where a lot of your time will be saved in the analysis portion of your research. I see a question, what type of data analysis methods are acceptable? anything that you're interested in. If you're a coder and you want to code, you can absolutely do so. If you are kind of looking for trends across papers and other research, you can do that. You can do data visualizations. You can look at the spread of COVID or different policies and how COVID spread across different countries related to different policies. It's really flexible. So whatever type of data analysis you're thinking of, I'm sure you can do it. Geospatial analysis, time series analysis, it's all open to you.
Yeah, and come up with a new analysis. So somebody's asking when the requirements say could contribute to future discovery and innovation, could you give examples? It could be that you're thinking something nobody's thought about before. That's fine. That's what that's about, because that's what innovation is, and that's what researchers do. Think about some of the medical practices when someone has open heart surgery, and I always think, where were they when they decided they could cut somebody open and take a pig valve and put it into somebody's heart? What made them think that? So, not that that was what you should be doing, but the idea is that there may be new innovative ideas that you have. So that's why we say future discovery and innovation. So, give yourself the liberty to think new things.
You guys are asking a lot of really great questions.
Are there any possible in-person events post-competition? Not at this time. There might be. We just got our no cost extension, so we have another year to work on this together. So Emily and I will talk about that and see if there might be an opportunity or not. Just pray there isn't another pandemic and everything doesn't shut down again, because we couldn't bring anybody onto campus and a lot of people couldn't travel, in 2020 and 2021. There may be an opportunity. We don't have any planned right now. We do everything virtually. That's how we have 24,000 people in the hub because everything is virtual. And, it could be late at night, it could be in the morning, it could be any time, and you can participate in our work. But if there were an in-person event, it probably would be, focused on, certain criteria, and we would have to come up with that. So not at this point, but, try to think happy thoughts and we'll see if something happens.
Yes, absolutely. Florence, I have another question that I think you might want to respond to. It was sent to me directly. I'm working on an external COVID project with university researchers that have NSF-funded private data from FOIA requests. The professor said that if I use it, I should cite them. Can I use this for the challenge?
They actually reached out to me too.
Oh, perfect.
And I answered them. But in case anybody else has a question like that, you need to get permission. If you're using open data like in Kaggle or, the UC Irvine data sets or whatever, or the stuff that you can get through from the KIC website that's not behind a firewall, then that's, open, but you should still cite the data that you're using. If you've been offered data by a researcher, you need to make sure that you have their permission. You should acknowledge and cite the funding that was used to create the data for their research. NSF, project number, blinkety blank, NIH project number, ARPA, DARPA, whatever it is. So you should do that, but you definitely should get their permission. Cite the data, cite the award or grant, and cite them, and thank them for their support and mentoring. That's what I would say.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ooh, someone's never written a paper before. Oh, fun. Now you get to do it.
There's so many really good questions. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any as I was going down.
Pros and cons of working in a team. You want to answer that or you want me to answer?
Sure. From my experience, watching students complete several of these challenges over the past 4 years, if you go into the challenge knowing your partners, it's typically better than when you're trying to find new partners. it sometimes gets tricky having to rely on other people for moving your research along. If you work well with another individual, absolutely go with the partners. But I have had situations in the past where and that's why I limited the group number, because I have 5 or 6 people in a group and then no one can find 3 of them, and it's a Saturday or a Friday. And it just gets very tricky trying to figure out where the communication base is. So if you are working in a group or partners, I just recommend ahead of time setting expectations. We'll work at this time or on these days or things like that, and also choosing a preferred communication method. So I'll check in with you every Friday via email, or here's our Slack channel, we can chat, things like that. Those things ahead of time will set you up for success in groups.
Yeah, and maybe even create like, a secure Google Doc where you can co-write the paper.
Right.
That only the 2 of you have access to, or something like that. You could do something like that, and just be careful. We're so fortunate that this is a global community. Someone was asking, can they focus on Africa? I said, actually, yes. One of our winners was from South Africa. But if your time zones are super different and you're trying to partner, it might be difficult. Like one person's asleep while the other one is awake. So just think about that as you look to partner. Kenny's asking in a hypothetical, actually, we've had this before. If you have more than 3 students that score perfectly on the rubric, how would you judge this?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
In one of our previous challenges, we did have 2 groups. I think they were 2 pairs, or actually it was 1 pair and 1 individual that did tie. And they all split the financial incentives, and they all got invited to present their research live and things like that. So if you do end up tying, which I will say is very rare, it only happened once in the years that we've done this prior, you will end up splitting that financial incentive with those who also tied with you. It's a good question.
But it's good you're aiming for the top. Yes, you can use PubMed from your university. You can use whatever tools, you can get access to legally. And then just cite them. And it's good to know that you may use, some people might say, what's PubMed? So you already know what it is, which is cool. So others of you can look at PubMed and, leverage those tools.
There was another question about, can I ask someone else to join this program like after today? Yeah, absolutely. The sign up form stays open up until the end. I've seen people write a paper overnight to try to get a submission in time. So the sign up forms will stay open. If you have other friends or again, other peers who are interested in signing up, they can absolutely join. I think I'm going to show you guys one last resource. I know we're close to 1 p.m. Eastern here, but I think that this might be of benefit to a handful of you based on some of your questions. Let's see here. Just give it 1 second to load. Overnight is really impressive. Yeah, the sign up form. Thank you, Stuti, for dropping it. Minimum team size, there's no minimum. I would say a maximum is 4. That is where it starts to get tricky, managing more than 4 people. So I will show you this really quickly, not to overwhelm you all with another resource. But these are our data science projects. I'm going to share my screen and walk you through it in just 30 seconds. I heard from a lot of students that they were trying to gain real world data exposure. So we built some data science projects for you all. Now, I don't want you really to focus on most of these right now. What I want you to look at is that we do have COVID-19 focused projects. So if this feels very overwhelming to you, and it's like, I cannot do all of this research in 3 weeks, I've never done this before, I don't know where to start, and that just feels like a really big, overwhelming feeling, I recommend looking at these projects and beginning one. Some of them are short, like our COVID data dashboard teaches you how to build a COVID-19 data dashboard. in 15 hours. We have a medical chatbot project, which is very cool, but that will take a little bit longer for you guys. Epidemiological research. This is an interesting project as well. It takes 10 hours or less to do some image classification of COVID-19 images if you're interested in radiography. So if this feels super big and you just don't know where to start and you're interested in these projects, you can sign up for one. A Google Colab notebook gets sent to you directly with an explanation of how to do the project step by step. Once you complete it, you could write a paper about it. And, it's all condensed for you. Of course, I recommend doing this whole thing first, looking at what you are interested in doing, exploring it online. But if it comes down to it and you're feeling like the time is really starting to crunch down and you don't have enough time left, I would recommend jumping into one of our data science projects to kind of give you like a kickstart.
Emily, one of the questions is if they have co-authors, should they each submit the participation form, or can one person submit for everybody?
Yeah, so if you do have co-authors, if you could sign up individually, that would be fantastic. Although you submit as a group, signing up individually will give me access to their email addresses too. So they'll join my contact list and they'll get an invitation to Discord and an invitation to the mentorship calls and everything moving forward. So if they could sign up individually, that would be great, just to keep them in the loop.
One last question. Do you have a list of similar paper writing opportunities to this one in case we're not able to participate this month?
So we host one of these every year. Our data science projects broadly are live, 24/7, 365. So you can always jump into that whenever you have time. But the CIC Student Paper Challenge itself gets hosted annually.
Yes, and you can sign up for our newsletter at the Northeast Big Data Hub or the COVID Info Commons. I think we can put that in the chat. I'm sure Stuti already has. And so then you would see all the programs we have coming out. There could be future opportunities in other areas. Like last year, we had the Transportation Data Science Project that we ran that was funded by the U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration. And we had, 5,000 participants, pretty wild, and maybe 450 or more submissions. And the people with the top papers actually had the opportunity to present to the Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration and the New York City Mayor's Office because we used an open data set from New York City. So we try to create those opportunities for you. There are no promises on this one who will see this, but it's really for your professional development. Learn how to, be a great researcher. You probably already are, but we can all grow in all ways. And we're so delighted you're interested in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, that's the chat. And I know that we are up at our 1:00 p.m. Time cutoff here, but the Discord channel is still open. If you have more questions after this, drop them there and I will respond to them. I wanted to pull this slide up quickly just to show you the different ways that you can connect with us. So of course you can visit the CIC website, stay in the loop about upcoming events. But as Florence said, we do have a mailing list. It's the best way to stay in touch with all of the different resources and events that we host throughout the year. Thank you, Suti, for dropping that link in the chat. And of course, if you have any other questions that maybe you don't want to put in Discord, you can email us directly at info@covidinfocommons.net, or sorry, I keep opening the chat for you guys. I don't know if you're seeing that.
No, we don't see it. I have the same issue when I do it. We don't see it at all.
Oh, perfectly. Perfect. So I will drop one last time my personal email address. Where is the Discord link? I see a lot of you are struggling getting into the Discord, so I'll drop that link one more time.
Yeah, somebody gave a little tip and technique. They said that they had to restart it and then click, and then they were able to do it. It took a couple of times to get in.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. That's been happening more and more for cybersecurity reasons. Very honestly, they're checking to make sure it's a human and not a bot. So that will happen even with multi-factor authentication with your bank potentially. So that can be something that you'll see happening in general.
All right, Stuti and I both dropped the Discord link, so that should work. But if not, send me an email and I'll try to add you guys directly, okay? But otherwise, again, any questions, let us know. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on Friday for the very first mentorship call. And again, you will receive an email from me later today. It takes a couple of hours for the Zoom recording to render, so give me a few hours. But you'll get the recording of this event along with a PDF of the slides, the judging rubric, everything that we discussed today, you'll have access to by the end of the day. And again, thank you so much. Florence, any last words?
Great job as always, Emily. Thank you for leading this. Thank you, Stuti and Christian, for helping us with this and with the community. And we wish everybody good luck. We're so glad you're here and can't wait to see your papers.
Yes, good luck, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.